to the point that we are today. You're probably going to wonder, why is this particular topic right here important? Well, like I said, there really isn't any topic that's not important that we haven't covered. Okay, everything is going to continue to be needed. Now, this portion right here, what it's going to explain to you, it's going to explain to you bone growth, not only this direction, but it's going to also explain it to you in this direction. So it's going to be based on how does the bone grow and develop. So here's what happens. When egg and sperm meet, fertilization occurs. So one cell becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. At every stage of that cell development, there is something that is occurring. One of the things that's going to occur is going to give rise to the 3 germ layers. From that endoderm, ectoderm, mesoderm. Each one is going to give rise to something in the body. The skin, the bone, the muscle, that sort of thing. The first development that occurs as the offspring is developing, we're going to have the intramembranous ossification taking place. Endochondral is going to be what can happen for the majority of the bones of the body. Intramembranous, what this is telling you is that in the connective tissue membrane, which is something that I tried to point out when we were up there looking at the bone models, this giving rise to bone is going to occur in the membrane. All right? The best example I can give you, all right, the fetus skull. What do we tend to think of this right here for the fetus? The soft spot. Now, endochondral means we're going to have our cartilage. This is where we're going to see the hyaline cartilage be the blueprint for bone. Both types of ossification, and ossification means hardening of the bone tissue, okay? Both are going to produce what is called woven bone. To weave. When you weave something, you do this number. You kind of go like this, okay? And like that, all right? So, what begins to happen? The collagen fibers weave. And when it does that, it's very random. A lot of it is not taken on any type of shape at that point, and therefore we refer to it as woven. It has been weaved. Okay? Remodeling is going to have to occur. At the time of remodeling is when we're going to be able to see bone take shape. the two processes. Intramembranous, within a membrane. This is from the embryonic tissues. So the connective tissues that are being formed as that offspring develops, okay, what's going to happen is there is going to be instructions in those layers of the connective tissue to form bone. Basically to give rise to bone tissue. Now, this is extremely important for offspring development. When we look at the fetal skull and we see this part right here, all right, the part that we refer to as the soft spot. Okay, well, itty bitty baby gets here. Itty bitty baby gets here and is in the shape of a C. The letter C. Think about it. Alright? But itty bitty baby begins to grow, takes on the shape of an S. That was C. However, do you think it would be a lot of fun if itty bitty baby was in the shape of an S when it came time to be born? I don't think so either. Okay? That would hurt mom. Okay? So, having the itty bitty baby gets here and we tend to think bones. Actually, the majority of their structure is cartilage. Now, but this intramembranous, the area that's really important is parts of the skull bone, the mandible, the clavicles. How does baby exit? Under normal conditions, okay, head first. But that means shoulders have got to follow. Now, don't know if you've ever witnessed that, okay, but the reason that they can exit the birth canal is because they have the ability to be squished. And the reason that they can be squished, they're technically cartilage, all right, and the structure with all of its membrane allows for these bones to shift and move to exit the birth canal. Now, baby gets here, we're holding them, all right? People want to be like, oh, can I hold your baby? And you're like, yeah, just be careful of their soft spot. And what you're telling them is, don't hit them too hard right here in the head, all right? Because why? Do what? Hold on. Do what?
Oh, I think they're not fully developed.
What part's not fully developed? Okay, well, brain tissue's not fully developed, all right? And this tissue is not fully developed, the bone tissue. Because here's what's going to happen. As the baby grows, okay, yes, this has to go to this. Big difference, all right? At what age does this go to this? By the age of roughly 5. By the age of roughly 5, whatever the size of the head is, that is going to be the size of the head for the rest of their life. Okay? The hope is that the rest of the body is going to grow into the head. Okay? It's why they're so lanky and falling over and toppling over and everything else. Okay? But their bone, the rest of their bones, is still a whole lot of it is cartilage. Alright? So, this intramembranous means that in between some of those connective tissue lining, there's going to be instructions to give rise to the bone. And what's going to happen is there are going to be areas throughout development that is going to have centers of ossification. And they can actually be seen, okay? When the baby gets here, the areas where the skull has not finished growing, brain tissue's not finished growing, those areas are going to be covered with this membranous type tissue, and we refer to them as fontanelles. And we usually take care of those areas because we know that that's an area that hasn't hardened, and anything that's kind of, pushes in or anything like that can actually damage the brain tissue. So in those connective tissue layers, because there are going to be cells that are present to give rise to bone, they're going to be embedded in the connective tissue. As development takes place, it's going to give rise to our upper portion of the body. We are going to see it giving rise to the skull, the mandible, parts of the clavicle, and they can actually visualize this with microscopes. And I don't know yet, because they have this really advanced ultrasounds now, the ones that are like 4D, I think, and it's like truly a first picture. I'm not exactly sure how much could actually be viewed at that time, but they might even see it at that point. So, this type of development will continue to occur until those bones reach their full growth, which is kind of cool. Alright? Now this one, endochondral, within cartilage, pretty much everything else of the skeletal system. By the end of the 4th week of development, this process, the process of cartilage being formed, okay, is taking place. So it's beginning to grow rather quickly. Now, actual ossification, hardening of what little bit of bone there is going to be at the time of birth, okay? Well, that starts roughly around week 8, and we don't really stop growing. Guys, they kind of range at about 22 for the guys. Girls, usually somewhere between the age of 18 and 20. You'll stop growing. All of the areas of the bones that have been using hyaline cartilage to help them grow will begin to harden, and you'll get your epiphyseal line. Okay? So, this process that's taking place, cartilage is our blueprint. A long bone.